Hi, I'm Shafin Design. Welcome to the Psychology of Attraction, Day 4, the strange story of how it all happened. Let me start off by making something perfectly clear. I am not a dating guru or a relationship expert. I do not intend on becoming one, nor did I ever want to become one. Until a few years back, I was just like any other guy on the street, thoroughly confused about women and living life through one broken relationship after the other. Yet through a series of highly improbable yet synchronistic events, I ended up where I am today, talking to you about the psychology of attraction and the science of the human mating game. This is a true story of magic, synchronicities, and how it all connects together. As you will soon see, truth is so much stranger than fiction that it's almost mind-boggling. It all begins on a warm summer evening back in 2004 when I got dumped in the most horrible way by the girl I was then dating. Like all sensible men, I had gotten into a business relationship with this woman, and I was also dating her at the same time. Let's call her Sue. I met Sue through a common friend and instantly got smitten by her glamour and charm. She was that woman who walks into a room and instantly all the men begin to straighten up and tries to look all macho and cool. Somehow I managed to seduce Sue with a combination of total milking cow-like behavior and a single-minded focus on trying to impress her. For some reason, she gave in, but managed to dictate the terms of the relationship in whatever way that tickled her fancy. Sometimes she would be all nice to me, sometimes she would sleep over at my place, sometimes she would flirt shamelessly with any guy she liked right in front of me, and sometimes she would act like we're about to get married next week. Anyway, long story short, since I was being the perfect wimpy wuss with a lot of money, I conveniently managed to wreck the business we started in less than 7 months' time and also lose nearly $100,000 from my own pocket. Yet I believe I would still wreck my life even more unless Sue decided one evening to make out with a guy in the middle of a club right in front of me. Even for the wuss that I was back then, it was just too much to take. I tried to force her into leaving the guy, and she did what all self-respecting women should do. She dumped me right in front of all my friends, and then she went home with the other guy. I was devastated, to say the least. I was heartbroken. My bank account was a wreck, and I never felt more humiliated in my life. Yet, as it is one of my strongest qualities, whenever something bad happens, I stop to ask, what is it about me that caused this situation to occur? As I was burning with humiliation and anger, I kept asking that question. Although no blinding flash of insight came, like it does in the movies, over the next couple of months I found certain teachers to start a journey that would change my life forever. The first teacher I met was a man who went by the name Jack Strange. If there was a true science of how to seduce women, this man would be a Nobel Prize winner, no doubt. He was a mad scientist come Casanova who single-handedly created a substantial underground community that focused on one thing: how to get laid. Now, let me be honest here. The name I'm using is not actually the correct name, but the story that follows from now is not exactly something I believe this person would be very proud of, so I'm using a different name. But I guess people who are from this community can tell who I'm talking about. Anyway, over the next 2 years, I learned techniques and mind control methods that would appear like magic in the eyes of an ordinary man. In a matter of few months from the day I got dumped by Sue, I was dating 4 different women at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to understand is this. If you are having attraction problems or trouble with your relationships, there is more than one solution. And it's not even very complicated. I'll get to it in a bit. For now, let us continue with our story. After I got introduced to this strange science of seduction, almost overnight I became one of those guys who are not only known by all the bouncers because he walks in with different women every night, but even the club owners knew me since I frequented their joints so often. It was amazing, and now that I look back at it, totally juvenile. What I didn't realize back then is that I had a really low self-esteem, and all this seducing one woman after the other was nothing but me trying to hide from the pain within that haunted me day and night. Obviously, none of those relationships stuck because the woman felt used like objects, and I imagine I was too superficial and shallow for anything meaningful. As the days passed, I was getting even more unfulfilled than before, until I met Sarah. Sarah was a girl who was totally unlike any of the other women I was dating at the time. She was sweet, sensitive, caring, with a wicked sense of humor. We got along really well, and for the first time since that Sue episode in the bar, I felt like I could fall in love again. Things were going really great until one day me and Sarah went to this club where I frequented a lot. We were hanging out and having fun when this woman I went out with for a couple of days came to me and said hello. I said hello back, being all nice and friendly, and introduced Sarah to her as my girlfriend. What she said in return is something I'll never forget. In a bitchy tone, she said, "Oh, this is your chick of the week, huh?" and walked away. The look on Sarah's face was so painful, I couldn't even speak to her. We walked out of the bar, and I never heard back from her again. In an email she sent me later, explained she didn't want to be emotionally involved with someone who had a reputation like mine. I was so embarrassed that I didn't even try to explain my side of the story, which would be pretty lame to begin with. However, this episode seriously made me question the purpose of this entire exercise of seducing one woman after the other. Why was I doing this? I was obviously not getting happier. I couldn't keep any of the women I dated, and I got a reputation that no decent woman wanted to be a part of. So what was the point of this rock and roll lifestyle? Once again, I began searching inwards. I stopped going out every night, stopped taking calls from the woman who wanted to go out with me, stopped drinking, and stopped hanging out with friends whose lives revolved around these things. I knew no lasting happiness or fulfillment could come from this road, and I had to get out of it as soon as possible. In the winter of 2005, I met my teacher in the world of hypnotherapy, Cal Banyan, and my whole world turned upside down. Through a process of self-hypnosis and my journey of getting a professional diploma in hypnotherapy, I went through the biggest healing period of my life. The process was tremendously painful, and on and off lasted about 6 months' time, during which time I ran away, came back, ran away again, and so on. Yet by the end of the healing process, the person that emerged from inside of me was so different that I couldn't even recognize myself. Somehow from deep within me, the very need to smoke, drink, party all night, and surround myself with many women just disappeared. I never said, okay, I quit smoking. I never promised to anyone that I would never drink again. I very well did not say, I'm never going to date women anymore and turn into a monk. Nothing of the sort happened. Yet somehow, I just didn't feel like indulging in any of those anymore. The only thing I entirely quit was smoking and never touched a cigarette again. I stopped drinking regularly and only had an occasional drink when I was celebrating something. And I began a relationship with a wonderful woman sometime in the summer of 2006, who I'm with till today. In the next few years, I embarked upon the greatest adventure of my life. Many teachers arrived. I wrote my book, Redefine Your Reality, taught tens of thousands of people around the world on inner healing and personal success, and finally devoted myself entirely in the field of spiritual awakening. Little did I know that life has some other plans with me, and I would have to make a full circle back to where I started before this whole story made complete sense. What an enormous tapestry of events connect the birth of a single action. In November of 2009, I went to a monastery in Nepal for 1 month of dedicated meditation and silence. Interestingly, while many mind-boggling strange miracles happened while I was in the monastery, I got very disenchanted with the monastic life. For the first time in my journey of spiritual awakening, I realized that being fully human is not about staying away from the troubles and turmoils of life, but participating fully in it. The way to fastest spiritual growth is not in the mountains or monasteries, but in dealing with everyday problems of everyday life. It is here in the world of good and evil, desire and temptation, love and hate, that we are able to exercise our spiritual muscles the most. Hiding in a sanctuary for years together is really a form of escapist behavior. Obviously, the child needs to stay in school to study more before he can serve the world in a bigger way. But if you stay in school all your life, you may need to question your true motivation. Anyway, it was during this time in the monastery I was assigned to work in the library as part of the Kriya Yoga, which in this case meant selfless work. My work was to collect all the books scattered around and put them back in their designated places. My only problem was that I had a bit of a dust allergy, and the books in the library was so old, some of them were literally falling apart when I tried to put them back on the shelves. Anyway, I still didn't mind, because I loved taking care of these amazing books, some of which were over 100 years old. Also, the fact that working in the library sure as hell beat cleaning the toilets every day, something I definitely did not want to engage in during our time of Kriya Yoga, which was right after breakfast. One day, while I was working in the library, organizing the books, I found an unusual dusty brown old book made out of rice paper with no author and no name. On the cover of the book, there was an illustration of a man and a woman holding hands underneath what appeared to be an orb of light. The book was published by a press called Moo Publications, which I later looked up and found to be of no existence. It had no date on it, but guessing from other similarly old books in the library, it was easily written before the Second World War. It was 369 pages long and was a book on evolutionary psychology. Of course, the word evolutionary psychology wasn't even coined back then, so it didn't contain that word, but it was focused around that subject that wouldn't get popular for another 30 years or so. The book entirely focused on the mindsets of human males and females that triggers the process of sexual selection. You can probably imagine my surprise having found such an unusual book in the library of a Buddhist monastery. The book identified 4 principal behavior patterns that we primarily advertise to the opposite sex to indicate our quality as a potential mate. The author also theorized that we are evolutionarily designed in a way that only the best among us naturally exhibit all 4 qualities in optimum levels. He wrote, "We are also hardwired to entirely stop exhibiting these behavior patterns when in presence of highly attractive potential mates who are way above our own status." This was fantastic to me. The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Why do men get tongue-tied and breathless the moment they want to approach a beautiful stranger and introduce themselves? Why do women get all emotional and gooey to the guy who obviously likes her, only to make him run away from her? The more I read, the more it made sense. Anyway, soon the library was about to close and I had to return one of the other books before I could take this one out. So I flipped through the whole book, took some notes, left for the day, came back the next day, and never found it again. There was no formal indexing or cataloging done in this little old library, so I asked the librarian if he has seen this book. The man, probably older than the library itself, who sat and chanted his mantra all day, told me in broken English, "This shop hides many books. Maybe we'll come back some other day." And that was the end of the conversation. I didn't have time to wait for that some other day, as my time at the monastery ended soon. I had to come back home a few days later, but the seed had already been planted in my mind. Over the next 1 year or so, I went through as many books as I could on evolution, evolutionary psychology, human sexuality, relationships, dating advice, and even contacted some of my old teachers of pickup and seduction. What I found was absolutely life-changing. There was a recurrent theme that appeared in the works of Darwin to Dr. Phil, from evolution theory to how to get laid more often theory. Across these diverse disciplines, one idea keeps surfacing over and over again. Both males and females are powerfully attracted to certain members of the opposite sex who display certain specific traits during the mating game. I'll say that again. Both males and females are powerfully attracted to certain members of the opposite sex who display certain specific traits during the mating game. Evolution theory pointed out the race to successfully advertise those traits causes evolution to take one direction or the other. Evolutionary psychology discovered, unlike other animals, human males and females advertise these traits through specific behavior patterns and mindsets. Contemporary relationship and dating advice books reverse engineer the behaviors of successful people and say, here are some techniques, do's and don'ts that all successful men and women follow in relationships. If you follow them, you'll have success too. But none of these disciplines, books or authors, absolutely none of them I've come across so far have identified what these core traits are that we are hardwired to feel attracted to, why we are attracted to these traits so powerfully, and if there is any way for an average man or woman to learn how to naturally incorporate those traits within their personalities. Not tricks, not techniques, but how do we naturally become the person who is able to advertise those highly attractive traits effectively, specifically in the presence of potential mates? That anonymous book with an anonymous author had identified 4 of these core traits. I was amazed to find how all these self-help, relationship advice, and dating technique books were trying to teach how to exhibit these very traits with many complex and elaborate theories and techniques. Yet once you know what these traits are, and specifically how to maximize them within your personality, it is so simple, so easy to follow, it's not even funny. Anyway, I got back home, started researching, and somewhere in the middle of last year, I started teaching some of my personal coaching students what these traits are. The results were instantaneous. Each and every one of them experienced immediate jump in the quality of their intimate relationships or their dating life. Funny thing is, at that point, I was only sharing a fragment of raw, disorganized information. Fast forward a few more months, my students spread the word, and their friends soon began to book my personal coaching sessions with no interest to work on spiritual matters, but to work on their love life. I dutifully increased the price of my personal coaching sessions, yet even more people booked up all my available time. And then there were the emails. This guy heard from a friend that a friend of his got almost magical powers when it comes to attracting any woman he wants. Apparently this man is so successful now, he's starting his own little workshop in Hawaii, and apparently he learned his magic formula from me, and so on and so forth. Is it really true? I have no idea, honestly. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. The power of real magic is never in what you know, but what you do with it. I'm sure some of these rumors are pure hype. Some are just hearsay. And maybe some of it is true. Whatever is the case, the pressure kept on building on me to offer this information in a structured way and fast. Yet, I was not ready. First, as I already said, I'm not a dating guru or a relationship expert or even the coach who listens to your relationship issues. Not interested. Yet, as my whole life work is based around synchronicities and miracles, I could see very clearly how I am literally being guided towards creation of this product. I couldn't ignore the series of serendipities that led to this situation. I didn't understand why I had to perform this task in this moment in time, but it seemed I didn't have much choice. The second issue why I wasn't ready was that I felt there was still a missing piece of the puzzle that I still had not uncovered. It was a nagging feeling at the back of my mind that just wouldn't go. Finally, it was November last year that I discovered the 5th mindset of a highly attractive mating partner. Believe it or not, I discovered it while watching a documentary on chimpanzees on the Animal Planet one day. In many ways, the 5th mindset is so much more powerful than the first 4 that in the hands of the unscrupulous, it can be a deadly weapon. The first 4 mindsets are much more positive and wholesome, harder to fake, and automatically makes a person exhibiting them a better man or woman. The 5th mindset is different. It is an extremely attractive trait in both men and women, more so in men. Very few men naturally exhibit this trait in the right way, and once you know it, it's easy to implement. People who naturally possess this trait are the ones called marriage material. Do you have a friend who doesn't look anything great, doesn't even dress nicely, or isn't even particularly eloquent when he speaks, yet women just go crazy for him? Do you know a woman who doesn't look good, doesn't have any great education, isn't even flirtatious, yet men just love her and wants to marry her? Well, these people unconsciously display this powerful 5th mindset. The problem is, Evolution had hidden it from the conscious mind for so many thousands of years, and therefore only a select few natural owners of this trait could naturally advertise it. Not anymore. Once I teach you what this mindset is, you can convince anyone that you genuinely possess this mindset. Of course, we evolved to value this mindset in the first place because it's a genuinely powerful mindset to have in life, but it's also easier to fake and abuse. Anyway, I finally had all the 5 components of my model of mating behavior, and once I gave it to some of my select students in a complete product form, the results were beyond anything I could imagine. Well, I still wasn't sure. First, I don't want to be your next relationship guru. I don't want to write another book on this subject, and I definitely do not want to sell you upgrades, downsells, add-ons, missing links at a higher price, follow-up seminars, or anything like that. Secondly, I do not want to give people a weapon that is too powerful for their own good. As I said, the 5th mindset alone can create totally irrational attraction in women before they even have a chance to think about it clearly. In fact, as you have learned throughout this free course, rational thought and logical analysis has very little to do with gut-level attraction. Sexual attraction is a much more primitive response of the brain that has little or nothing to do with rational thought. So here is how I made peace with myself regarding this product. I decided that I will teach as much as possible on this subject for free, which I have done as far as I could within the constraints of video size limits, our own server costs, time, etc. Next, I promised to myself that I will only allow 1,000 copies of this product to be sold. Because with every product sold, there is an ongoing support and many other issues that come up, and I don't want to get too focused on this. Also, I feel 1,000 is just about right to keep this product within my own group of students who have been with me for a long time. Somehow I feel mass marketing such powerful information will not be the right thing to do, at least for now. Maybe sometime I'll tone it down and edit out some of the information in this product and allow it to sell openly in the market. But for now, it's 1,000 copies, and after that, it's shop closed. Anyway, once I made up my mind, it was time to release the final product, and I made a little Facebook page to let my friends know about it first. What followed was absolute mayhem. In less than a week, over 500 people had joined this little page. In less than 2 weeks, the number had crossed 1,000. I had 100 promotional copies of the 5 Mindsets program for sale for my inner group of students, and over half of it sold out within 3 days. I didn't even know who these people were, so I quickly took down the promotional link and suspended all sales temporarily. And then it was my business partners and colleagues who wanted in. Once they heard about it, they absolutely refused to keep this quiet and asked me to give permission so they could share it with their own students. If you are one of those people who heard about this course via word of mouth, now you know how all this happened. Anyway, I gave in eventually, but I told everyone I was not going to break my promise. Everyone can join in on this free video course and share it with the world, but the actual 5 Mindsets program will only be made available to 1,000 people only. Once the 1,000 copies sell out, it's out of the market. Game over. Now, as I record this video, over 30,000 people have signed up so far on our list in the last few days. This is not even counting my own students, who are another 100,000 around the world. So roughly speaking, once this is launched, It's over 130,000 people waiting to claim 1,000 copies. I really don't know what to say. And so with that, we have come almost to the end of the 4-part course, The Psychology of Attraction. Let me try to quickly recap some of the things you've learned in this program so far. The first lesson you learned was, attraction is not a logical choice we make. The more you try to logically convince someone to feel attraction towards you, the more you will end up with the opposite, which is repulsion. What you need to realize is that attraction is an involuntary reaction of the emotional brain that is triggered in response to the right mating behavior. If you want to effortlessly create attraction in mates of your choice, you need to learn what the right mating behaviors are. Doing the same things over and over with different people will not get you different results. Remember that. So if you're in a long-term relationship and thinking of leaving her or him, hoping that the next person will be better, let me assure you, it will be the same story all over again. Try to remember this helpful analogy. Our romantic partners are like mirrors. No matter how many times you change the mirror, unless you change, the reflection will never change. If you don't like what you see on the mirror, it's time to change yourself. And how do you change yourself? Well, I can tell you this. Who you are today is the result of the childhood programming, movies you watched, friends you hang out with, the books you read. If you don't like the results you have in your life right now, maybe it's time to do something radically different. For those of you who are getting the 5 Mindsets program, here is how you're going to benefit. The 5 Mindsets program begins with first undoing all the childhood programming through professional hypnosis, then goes on to change your current belief system through nearly 9 hours of intense training, and finally reprograms your mind on a daily basis through regular mind programming.
Hey Shotfin, how you doing? It's Dan. I just had to make this video to say thank you. I've been doing the 5 Mindset program now, and it's been amazing. I always had good-looking girlfriends, but they never seemed to work out. The relationships never seemed to work out until I used your program. And it's weird because it is subconscious. I don't really know what I'm doing different, but I know the results are different. My current girlfriend now, not only is she a beauty queen and a knockout, but she treats me and looks at me with she looks at me in a way that I can only describe it as respect. And I don't know what I'm doing different. Once again, it's kind of that subconscious mind that's kicking in, but I'm gaining respect from my girlfriend. I've gained respect from my girlfriend, and it's just an amazing a process that I've gone through. I feel like a better man as well. It's not just respect with the girlfriend, but I feel like I'm a stronger person now. And I have to give all props to you, your program. I got the website up now. I've just been looking at it. The daily mind programming session I've been doing now for about 2 weeks, and once again, it's really making me evolve as a person. I suggest anybody watching this video go out and get this program. It's going to change you as a person, whether you're already in a relationship or you're looking for a relationship. This is going to help you be more confident, and it's about a 12-hour program. Check it out. My name's Dan, and I definitely approve this message.
Okay, so here is the second key lesson you learned in this course. We humans are not primarily hardwired to feel attracted to the biggest or the strongest. We are hardwired to feel attracted towards the smartest. This one sounds easy to understand, but it's not. Since I've already covered the evolutionary reasons why we are primarily hardwired to feel attracted towards the smartest instead of the strongest, I'll skip that for now. What I want to demonstrate to you right now is how women can intuitively feel evolutionary smartness through simple, everyday reactions and behavior. Here are the top 5 mistakes men make with women that show their lack of smartness. Mistake number 5, being jealous of her guy friends. Jealousy is a sign of a man who has little choice. A high-status man with many choices rarely gets jealous of anybody. He simply moves on when he is no longer having fun. But he does not get jealous over her friends. There is an ocean of a difference between the two. A weak man will whine, argue, try to convince her why she should leave her guy friends, etc., etc., etc. This is a classic sign of a man who does not get it. Mistake number 4, settling for second-class behavior. A man with low social intelligence or low status will always accept second-class behavior, especially from beautiful women, people in power, or people with lots of money. This is the very reason why women of high quality will always test men by doing all sorts of things to piss him off. If he responds with supplicating behavior, she will either do worse or leave him. Why is this? Because once again, true evolutionary smartness cannot be determined by looking at someone. You always have to test them. It is only by testing a man over and over that a woman knows his worth for sure, and only then she can truly surrender to him fully, resting in his masculine consciousness. Mistake number 3, being unprepared. Men of high evolutionary smartness are natural leaders. They're leaders not because they're politically ambitious, but because they're absolutely clear about who they are, where they're going, what they have to do in order to get there, and who they will take with them. At every moment in life, a true masculine man knows answer to all those questions. And that is why he is always prepared. A true leader never shows up on a mating game unprepared, unsure, and uncoordinated. Do you know why women love it when you take them on a date where everything is prearranged, your attention to detail is impeccable, and everywhere you go, reservation has been made? She loves it because it shows your sense of purpose, your leadership qualities, and your understanding of her needs. As simple as it is, most men show up on dates or take their lover out and start asking, "What do you feel like doing?" "I don't know." "What do you feel like doing?" "I don't know." "What do you feel like doing?" Mistake number 2, seeking approval. This is such a widespread problem that I'm tempted to say all men suffer from this. Of course, not all men do, but most do. They call it being romantic. The movies teach us to do this, the romantic novels teach us to do this, the soap operas teach us to do this. And yet, this is the perfect formula for a lot of psychological torture and even being dumped. It all begins with buying too many gifts or spending too much money right at the beginning of the relationship. Men love to do this because it allows them to show off their money and gets them some cheap approval from their woman. However, there is something far more complicated going on in the background. Every time you buy a gift for a woman, hoping to win her approval, especially when she has done nothing to deserve it, you're communicating your inherent lack of worth to her. The message is simple. Since there is nothing inherently worthy about me, would you please accept my expensive offering in exchange for your companionship? By the way, women do these things also, but men take it to such ridiculous proportions, so I'm making an example out of it. Listen, giving gifts is a wonderful thing, but there is a subtle difference between giving a gift and trying to buy her approval. The latter is what all weak men with money do all around the world. If only for that reason, try to keep the money spending at the very minimum in the beginning of the relationship. Even if you have all the money in the world and you just want to show your affection, blowing lots of cash on her for no good reason at all will automatically put you in the weak man trying to buy her approval category. So stay away from it. And now, finally, mistake number 1, blaming others and refusing to change. This is the most unmistakable sign of a man low on the evolutionary ladder. When you blame others for your situation, whatever it may be, you simply don't get it. You will suffer many years of your life until you change this mindset, and she will have no interest to spend those years with you. When you refuse to change or refuse to accept your mistakes, you only demonstrate your lack of evolutionary smartness and your inability to adapt to changing circumstances. In a world that is constantly changing and challenging, this is one of the worst traits to possess, and thus one of the most unattractive qualities that a man can demonstrate. Being rigid and unwilling to change is the sign of an individual quickly on his way to become extinct. Women of high quality have very little interest in spending time with such people. You see, attraction is simple. It is first understanding that we have evolved to value certain personality traits over the others. In a mating game, the trick is to know what those smart qualities are, incorporate them within your personality permanently, and then learn to display those traits fully in presence of your potential mates or your long-term partners.
Have you ever looked back on your life and just thought to yourself, if I only had this kind of information back then, if I only knew then what I know now? Well, I'm telling you now, don't be that guy. Shuffin has basically put together this incredibly awesome program that allows you to be the know-it-all when it comes to relationships and have everything you need under your belt. The program takes about 9 hours to go through, and I wish I had this information when I was a teenager. If I knew what I knew now as a teenager, there is no telling what I could have accomplished when it comes to relationships. But I got the information and I did it now, so it's never too late. Like I said, it takes 9 hours. This is not a short program. It's a very, very precise program, and it gives you everything you need to know. I recommend that you take the time, if you can afford it, check it out. Shuffin really makes it easy and lines everything up to where you don't have any questions afterward. I recommend this. It changed my life, and I definitely know that it can change yours. Check it out.
And here's the third key lesson you learned from me on this free video course, Psychology of Attraction. Attraction is created between two poles of the opposite energy. Attraction is created between two poles of the opposite energy. If you want to create attraction with a feminine woman, you have to project dominantly masculine traits. Remember this always. Without polarity of sexual energy, you can have great friendship, maybe even physical intimacy, but you will not have attraction. This does not mean that to attract a dominantly feminine woman, you always have to be masculine. No. What it means is that while you are free to express both your masculine and feminine sides as and when necessary, in moments when you want to create attraction, When you want to create that delicious sexual tension, you will need to have polarity. If you're trying to create attraction with a dominantly feminine woman, you have to be in a dominantly masculine mode. And vice versa if you're trying to create attraction with a masculine person. Now, for those men who are saying to yourself, well, I think I'm doing alright. My woman is regularly having sex with me, so I must be in a masculine mode. Well, gentlemen, don't forget, women are capable of being turned on and getting off with a plastic toy as well. That doesn't necessarily make the toy something romantically attractive. Something to think about.
Hey everybody, my name is John Howard. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. I just recently finished the 5 Mindsets program, which ended up being amazing. When I first purchased the program and put the money into it, I was very skeptical, just being honest, and it ended up blowing me away, just what it brought out of me. And the program teaches some pretty high-level dating techniques, which are very effective, to say the least. But they really teach how to approach a woman and to get her attention, if it's the one you're going after, to get her attention pretty immediate. So that, first off, was a seller point for me. The program gets into like evolution, spirituality, and really woke me up in a lot of these areas. And literally in the first few minutes, I was already experiencing that as far as my mindset really opening up, because I never really thought about it in the depths that this program goes into. And I don't know, just being awakened in those areas really was encouraging and let me realize where I'm lacking at, and it was severe. It was severely lacking, and so this program really encouraged me to get out of that weak mindset. I mean, I was completely blown away by literally the first few minutes. I was very reluctant, just like normal, to spend any kind of money on anything like that, but after the results, I have no regrets at all. I mean, it was totally worth it. I would recommend it to anybody. I have recommended it to people, but as far as letting the masses know, I mean, go out and get it, and don't be reluctant. Don't hold back with your money. If you want to change really the way that you think about things, the way your mind works, the way it's expanded to certain areas, I mean, don't hold back. That's all I'm saying. And I want to end with the fact, just letting you know how I feel. I mean, I love the program. I've gone back many times to review material over again. It's well worth it. You will find things out each time you review the material that you did before, and in the first few minutes you will really discover things that you have never discovered in your life, and the way your mind works, the way it's opened up to possibilities. So I want to thank you, Chafin, for creating this product. It is wonderful, and you rock. Seriously.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are running out of time. I have taught you as much as I could within the limitations of time, video size limits, and practicality. I hope you've learned some valuable things in these 4 short videos. So in the end, let me ask you this. Do you suspect that if you could work with me one-on-one for the next 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 months, it would really make a positive impact on your life? Do you think that if I could show you the exact science of romantic attraction, give you all the psychological tools of seduction, teach you all that I know from direct experience, this could be a turning point of your life? Do you feel you would benefit if I could work with you directly in my office, put you in a state of hypnosis, and reprogram your mind? Do you feel you would never be the same again? Well, unfortunately, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because I simply don't have that kind of time. The needs of many outweigh the needs of the one. Right now, I'm trying to take care of all of you, and also my over 100,000 students in the background. You are the needs of the many. As you also know, professionally I'm a writer, and I'm very busy with my next book. I have a deadline to meet, and I have to bring this project to an end. For now, what I can do is offer my life's work in a compact package to you so you can experience it over and over in the privacy of your own room without incurring huge expenses like hiring me live. To meet all your expectations, I have created this program, which you can afford. Money is not going to be an issue. Money is only an issue when you don't really want something. Have you noticed? It's not an issue when you're really, really ready for it. So here's what I got for you. If you are ready to take yourself to a brand new level of adventure, become a magnetically attractive person who is not only able to attract virtually anyone he feels like, but also a man ready to serve the world in a bigger and better way, go get the 5 Mindsets program and life will never be the same again. This program has 4 components within it. First, you'll get over 9 hours of intense audio training that will guide you through step by step all the 5 mindsets I already spoke about and guide you through the exact exercises to implement those mindsets naturally within your personality. In this part, you will literally become a master of natural attraction. You will learn more than probably 99% of the world will ever dream of knowing on the topic of romantic attraction and seduction. This is a program that covers some of the most powerful discoveries in the field of psychology of attraction that, with the possible exception of a few handful students that I taught before, has never been presented to the public. You will be the first to know. The second part of the program, Awakening the Inner Man, is something that has probably never been created before in the history of man. In this second part, the most powerful principles of deep inner game is installed within the mind of the listener using a mind-altering trance-like state. This mind programming session is a 1-hour session that goes deep within the subconscious using clinical hypnosis and brain entrainment technology to reprogram the erroneous programming that most men learn from childhood and they don't even know they have it within them. As I said, the mind programming session is designed to reprogram the mind on a deep subconscious level. Repeated listening will not only turn you into a man who attracts the right kind of woman like magnet, but also make you a leader of men who is followed by other men like an elder brother. The third part of the program is called Rewriting History. This part is what I believe the most valuable part. It is a hypnosis session designed to uncover and deprogram all the negative programming installed in your childhood and neutralize them forever. See, this is where most self-help programs fail. They forget or simply lack the understanding that unless the old negative programming has been neutralized first, nothing new will stick. Or even if it does, it only works about 10% of what it really could deliver. With the power of professional hypnosis, we will go deep within your mind to deprogram all of those powerful unconscious patterns installed within you before you were age 12. And finally, if all of this wasn't enough, I'm adding one last module to the existing 3 modules that will be completely on a different level altogether. This one has not been released until now. Even the other older students who have experienced this product before has not seen this one. This last module, called Way of the Warrior, is to the main program what quantum physics is to high school physics. It talks about the same subject, but it's worlds apart. This part is much deeper, focuses on the spiritual aspects of masculinity and your role in a greater scheme of life. I'll tell you this myself. If you are a person just beginning to take control of your love life, still struggling to figure out how attraction works and what life is all about, this module will probably make little sense to you at this moment in time. But as you mature more and more, as you listen to the mind programming session, Awakening the Inner Man, over and over, You will see how this last module slowly begins to make sense. Okay, now, if you're one of those people thinking, whoa, this looks like a jam-packed huge product with loads of valuable things in it, wait till you see all the bonuses that come with this. Some of the top personal development companies have partnered with me to give away some of their most valuable products for free to all the customers of 5 Mindsets program. Just when you thought this was a lot, there is just a little bit more I got for you. Okay, so that's it for now. Remember, the 5 Mindsets program will close once the 1,000 copies have sold out. So if you're really interested, do take quick action. To find out more, click on the link below and see for yourself. You will find the stories of many like you who experienced tremendous results from this very same program. Impossible as it appears is truly nothing. This has been a journey that has changed my life, and today I present it to you. This is Shafin Design signing off. I wish you all the best on this great journey called life.